Welcome to Careful Connections website prototype. I'm going to take you through two different routes, one being the route of a care representative in-country office inputting a project to hopefully get matched with a volunteer. Then we will come back and have a potential volunteer go through until they get matched with a project. So to start this process, we will sign in as a care representative. And you'll see this takes us to the dashboard for the particular care office that this person works in. We have a few different options here. You see the add a new project, but then we also have these committed projects, which are projects that have not only been matched with a volunteer, but have gone through all the steps that come after the match. And now these are projects that are definitely going to happen or maybe are currently happening. Then we have matched projects, which there's none currently showing, but these are projects that have found a match with a volunteer. Unmatched projects are those which have not, very simple. Then we have draft projects, which are projects that someone has started building, but maybe they didn't have all the information yet, so those are left there to come back to and finish at some point. And then our archived projects, which are projects that have been committed and are there, just there for reference. So today we'll start with add a new project, and this is our project template. Very simple, gathers kind of all the basic information that we would need based on our research to be able to match someone with a project. So kind of skip ahead and autofill all that information, see what it looks like, how our calendars work. And once we come down to the bottom, you'll see we have a couple options: save and close or post to this project. Save and close would make this a draft project, but we are happy with everything. It's finished to the point it's going to be, so we are going to post this project. And so you'll see that now business model and training is up here on the list with unmatched projects. While we were doing that though, we see we've got a little 1 here, and under matched projects there's now an application pending, which means that me as a care representative, I need to go in there and start reviewing this so that I can get back to the potential volunteer within a couple weeks. We also created this other section for volunteers. This was an issue that we ran into during our research and iterations, that what happens if a volunteer puts all their information in and then there's no projects that match that volunteer's experiences? What happens to them? And so we didn't want them to get lost, so we created this separate list so that care offices from around the world could go in and see where there are folks with certain expertise that maybe they didn't realize were out there, and maybe they can build a project specifically for those people. So it's very short, simple. That's how it would work from the care representative's point of view. If we go back to the home page, we will now go that if I were visiting this as a first-time potential volunteer, read through and start with simply getting started. And the first thing we want to make sure is that we take everyone through how it works, that no one could skip ahead to start filling out, because we really wanted to make sure that you understood the whole process, that while this is a matching website and that we're going to match you with a project, that's only one of the steps along the way. And once you get matched, there will have to be reviews and conversations be had between you and the folks actually on the ground. And we just wanted everyone to understand all the different parts of the project, as far as what potential costs there will be and other opportunities once you get in country. So if you see that and everything looks good, then it's time to start creating your volunteer profile. All right, so creating your profile, start with your email, password, so that kind of creating you a profile on here. Start with just some basic information, and then that takes us to expertise and skills. This really gives you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about what you do and kind of what your past is, and maybe help us match you to what would be the best project that you could help care with. So beyond just kind of the keyword that we need for our searches, there is a place for you to fill in additional information to explain things if you have expertise in more than one area, click on this. It'll bring up another identical section so you can put in that information. Then, of course, because CARE works around the world, it's important that there's an understanding about your language skills so that when you get matched somewhere, we know that if having particular language skills is important, that will happen. So we will save and continue. And this is our travel section. Works kind of show you exactly where CARE's at. If you have a specific place in the world that you would like to work, this allows you to do it. You know, if you only wanted to work in the Americas, here you go. Maybe you could come in and deselect Brazil because they speak Portuguese, not Spanish. But hopefully most people, and for this example, will just want to volunteer anywhere that they're needed. And this shows you all the countries around the world that CARE is currently working. So save and continue. This volunteer section is really about trying to understand what someone's expectations are when they go and travel somewhere, whether or not they've had experience in the developing world, and just trying to give them an idea about what it's going to be like, and for the CARE representatives to be able to ask the right questions so that there aren't any misalignment of expectations once someone gets in country when there's not much you can do about it. So we have a couple sliding scales to just let us know a little bit more about what it is that your expectations are. A few little checks, you know, things that you must have on a day-to-day basis that's good to know ahead of time. And then obviously some more text box so you can explain your background a little bit. So we'll save and continue. Then come out with the health. This section should be more specific in the future, but not knowing exactly what was proper to ask and what wasn't, we're leaving that to CARE to pick up from. But we do know that there will need to be questions that need to be asked depending on the different places people go. There's going to be different health issues that will arise. So once you get that filled in, save and continue. And finally, just a catch-all for everything on the back end in case there's something that you feel like hasn't been brought up that you would like to speak on. Also, you can add it on your resume or your LinkedIn account or whatever you think is important. So we will save and continue. And here's our review of all of that information. You'll see next to each section there's a little edit button that you can come in, go back to that section, change whatever didn't get inputted right, and come back. If all that looks good, then you can either save it for later or go ahead and submit to be matched. So here are the matches that someone would see. They could go through either if they see something they definitely don't want to do, you can have that removed so it won't pop up again. Or if you're interested, learn more about this opportunity. And here you will see all the information that earlier we walked through the input of a CARE representative. All that information is now being input in this form for the potential volunteer to read. So you'll see this is kind of the point that those two different paths meet each other. We have a little map that you could scroll in and out on so that you can understand a little bit about where the community is that you might be working on. Also, we figured out that through some of our interviews and our testing that we needed an area for people to ask questions, because while they may be interested in a specific project, they may be hesitant to apply until they've had an opportunity to ask questions. So we provided a text box for them to do so it maybe ease those kind of worries that they may get deep into something before they can ask a question, which isn't the case at all. So we added that in. If everything looks good, someone can go ahead and apply for that project, and you'll see now that project is pending. There's also a specific date given so that someone doesn't have to worry about when they're going to hear something back or be putting off other plans because they're worried about when CARE might get back to them. So that was definitely something important, both to make sure CARE was staying on task and to make sure volunteers understood the process as fully as they needed to. So that is kind of the whole process. There are a couple additional pages that we didn't go through, like our frequently asked questions page, which is very basic, just to try to give a potential volunteer that much more information. And then as the site gets built out and projects do start happening, you'll see we have a case studies page, which would be a carousel you could scroll through select one and read a little bit, maybe watch a video, and see what projects are really like. But overall, that is Careful Connections. Thank you.